So you know what, Bob? Today in our social studies, the lecturer asked us a really interesting question. The lecturer asked, what do you think could be the drivers of social change?
That's an interesting question. What sort of social change was the lecturer talking about?
Major changes, I think, such as education for everyone, it's a right for everyone, or like healthcare available for everyone and equality for everyone. We only need to go back 100 years or so, and none of these rights existed. The ideas were there, of course, but not the rights.
Wow, Alice, that's surprising. I didn't realize it was such a short time ago. I can see we've had some really big changes in society recently. What thoughts do you have on that?
I think there are two main aspects to this question. One, what are the ideas? And two, how are the ideas spread through society?
Nowadays, I think that through the internet, like with social media and things like that, it's both the principal and the fastest way for ideas to spread.
True, but the internet has only been with us for a few years, that's like 20 years. And before this, the main media for spreading ideas are newspapers and magazines and the newsreels in the cinema.
Oh my God, newsreels? What are newsreels?
We don't see them now, but go back to the Second World War, and the only real information about how the war was going on are from films made of fighting and showing in movie theaters.
Wow, I'll bet that was exciting to see the actual fighting.
Yes, I guess it was, but don't forget, it was wartime, and the government controlled what could be shown and what could not be shown in these films.
It's like a form of censorship, huh? Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember seeing a documentary a few years ago about World War II. And there are hundreds of enemy soldiers being marched in a long column with just a few British soldiers guarding them. The prisoners looked very defeated, very hungry, and very tired.
Exactly. And this shows how important pictures are in creating ideas in minds of the people. And at that time, you will never see a newsreel about the British defeat unless you're on the other side with the Germany.
Right, exactly. So some images are very important in terms of communicating ideas in wartime, but what about in peacetime? What examples can you think of in peacetime?
Well, the most powerful image that comes to my mind is the short film about the British woman whose name is Emily Davison. She was known for suffragette and worked very hard to get equal voting rights for women.
Yeah, oddly enough, I have to admit, I didn't know who she was until we started researching this a little bit. I'd never heard of her. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but what did she do that made her so famous?
Well, I have to repeat what happened. So actually, Emily jumped in front of the king's horse during a horse race.
Oh, no.
So the horse crashed into her and she was killed.
Why would she do such a dangerous thing like that?
She was protesting about the lack of rights for women.
But it seems a bit extreme that she would actually kill herself to do something like that. I mean, there are peaceful ways to protest too.
Yes, I suppose it was, but arguably the act of her suicide, which were seen in cinemas all around the United Kingdom, had a really great effect on achieving women's equality. So they finally get the right to vote. These realistic images, which we can all understand, have a really powerful effects on social change.
yes.
That's the thing. Hi, student. According to the conversation between Alice and Bob, Michael and I have 2 questions to ask you. The first question is, when did the so-called newsreels popular in the world? So now it's Michael for his question.
Okay, the second question is, we discussed some major changes that people should be entitled to around the world. What are those changes?
Here are the 2 questions. We will see you in our next section. See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.